God who made the heavens and made the ocean and made the dry land, that's the God I worship. So he explained to the other sailors what he had done, that he had fled from God, from Yahweh. And the other sailors were afraid. What have you done? So the storm became worse and worse. The waves rolled. The other sailor said to Jonah, "We have to do something to cause the storm to stop and the waters to become calm again." So the other sailors believed in their culture that someone had done something to make the gods angry. And so if they prayed, that God would help them and calm the waters. So they asked Jonah what they had done to make Yahweh angry and to cause the storm. They thought that God was punishing Jonah. So the sailors thought, we have to do something. His God is trying to punish him. They thought that maybe he had owed money, or he'd stolen money, or he'd done something. He'd sacrificed something. So they wondered what they had to do to pacify Yahweh and to cause the storm to stop, since the storm was a punishment from Yahweh, is what they thought. What do we do? They said to Jonah. Jonah said, "This awful storm that has befallen us, it's my fault. You guys should take me and throw me overboard into the ocean, and then the waters will be calm again for you." But they didn't want to do that. Instead, they continued to row against the storm. They were trying to go in the opposite direction to dry land. They continued to row. They struggled, but they couldn't do it. It was impossible. The storm kept getting stronger and stronger, and they couldn't row against it. The waters were tossing and turning. It was awful. So they cried out to Yahweh. They said to him, we know that you have decided to do this, and we are helpless in the face of this storm. Please do not punish us for Jonah's death when we throw him into the water. He's an innocent man. Please do not hold us guilty. So after they finished praying, they all took Jonah and they threw him overboard into the ocean. And suddenly the waters were calm again. And those on the boat were amazed. They looked to Yahweh. They gave him sacrifices. And they made promises and vows to Yahweh. So Jonah sank in the water. God sent a large fish to go and swallow Jonah up. So Jonah was in the belly of the whale. And while he was in there, he was in there 3 days and 3 nights in the belly of the large fish. So 3 days and 3 nights could mean exactly 3 days, or it could mean about 3 days, approximately. Or it can be a metaphorical meaning. It could be that he died. So Jonah, we don't know exactly what 3 days and 3 nights means, if it's literal or metaphorical. So Jonah prayed while he was in the belly of the large fish. This was his prayer. So what's coming up next is Jonah's prayer, which is his communication with God. His prayer was really more of an expression, actually. It was poetic language, metaphorical. So we could see what was going on in Jonah's mind. When he sunk to the bottom of the ocean, he thought he was going to die, but the large fish actually saved him by swallowing him. He was so close to dying, but God saved him by sending the large fish. So these are Jonah's meditations and his thoughts. They circle back around. So nothing else is happening at this point. It's just his meditations and his thought process. So I'll explain more about it after you watch this prayer of Jonah's. This awful calamity came upon me, but I called to you, Lord, and you helped me. The waters splashed over me, and I sank to the depths of the sea. The darkness overwhelmed me. I was close to death when I cried out to you, Lord, to help me. Do you see how he's signing, how he went to the bottom of the sea and it was getting darker and darker, and I was close to death? I want to explain a little bit more about that. So, in Hebrew idiom, is this here printed on the bottom of the screen, and it means from the belly of Sheol. Now, let me explain what Sheol is. Back then, the Hebrew people believed that when a person died, they went to Sheol, and that's where they stayed. So it's like the land of the dead. So it's kind of like what we think of when we think of the grave. So the belly of Sheol could mean he was very close to death. He was just about to be in the grave. He was close to the grave. So if you look at different English translation Bibles, you notice some translations follow the Hebrew sentence structure and word order. So it might say from the belly of Sheol. Some other translations might say, which is more common English, from the depths of the grave. And that will help people to understand more what Sheol is referring to. So that's why it's being translated into ASL this way, as in like the depths of death, almost close to death. The Lord, you heard my cry, Jonah said, and you pulled me up out of the grave. So you threw me into the waves, Lord. Your waters engulfed me and washed over me, and I sank and sank to the bottom of the ocean. I thought I was finished. I thought I was cut off from you, separated from you. but I know that I will see your special holy place again. I have two topics I want to expand upon here. The first topic is related to special place. So in English translation, it says your holy temple. So this your holy temple could have two different meanings. It could mean God's temple there in Jerusalem, or it could mean heaven. It could mean either of those things. So the second topic I want to expand upon in verse 4, really interesting. A lot of people debate this. So there's different ways this can be translated. So in the Hebrew scrolls a long time ago, this is a Hebrew word that was in the scroll, and it means, hold on a second. It means sure. So it shows positivity and assurance. So in verse 4, Jonah is positive. God's holy temple, he'll see it again. He's sure of it. He's positive. So watch this translation again of verse 4. I thought that I was cut off from you, cut off from your holy temple forever. I know that I will see your holy temple again. So Jonah knows that this calamity that's befallen him, that's his own fault, but he still knows that he'll see God's special place, his holy temple again. He's sure. So one of the translation options shows is from the Jewish scrolls. So now the translations from ancient Hebrew is very challenging. So in ancient Hebrew, they had vowel sounds, but in the written text, they excluded the vowel sounds from the text. So it's difficult to translate. So you have to fill in the blanks with the vowels that are missing. The translator does, and only then will they understand and be able to translate it. So one Greek translation into Hebrew says in verse 4, two possible two possible translations because they don't know which vowel to fill in there. So if you're following the meaning of these words, it's more negative and depressing. So there's two options following that translation. So let's see one translation which is more of a negative connotation. I thought I was finished, and you looked down on me, but I would be cut off from you. But I know I will see your holy temple again, or I will never see your holy temple again. So that translation seems to show Jonah losing hope. He'll never see God's temple again. And he's depressed about it, negative. So let's see the other way of translating it. I thought I was cut off from you. Will I ever see your holy temple again? How? How can I? See, there's more uncertainty there. How? How can I ever see your temple again? So the point is that verse 4 has three different possible translations. The first is positive, I will see your temple again. The second is negative, oh, I will never see your temple again. And the third one, so some English translations follow that second possibility. The third one is that, and all the Hebrew scrolls have, okay, so all the ancient Hebrew scrolls tend to have that first translation in there. So that's the reason our translation team followed that first option, where Jonah is positive about the outlook of seeing God's holy temple again. So I sank to the depths of the ocean, and I was choking. Seaweed wrapped around my face and my head. I sank deeper and deeper to the bottom of the ocean floor. I was at death's door, and I thought I was finished. But you pulled me from the depths of death and you saved me. My life was fading, and I was about to die. But I cried out to Yahweh, and you heard me. You saw me from your holy temple, and you paid attention to me, and you heard me. Many people bow down and worship idols. They refuse your everlasting love. But as for me, I will serve you, and I will thank you. I will make vows to you. Salvation comes from the Lord alone. So here we see Jonah's meditation going in a full circle. So if you look at the Hebrew language, his prayer in the Hebrew language, does that mean that Jonah prayed literally from the belly of a fish? That user sellers seventh hour. The amount. So these prayers were later written down later. So why was his prayer recorded in the first place? It's really a powerful prayer and expression and experience. It's really inspirational and we can relate to it. That's why it was written down. Jonah's experience and his prayer. That's why it was decided to write that down. That beautiful poetic prayer, so that we can envision his experience and relate to him. So This type of prayer tends to be in a very complex language. It's meant for us to read over and over again and analyze, and it's very metaphorical. It creates a picture in our mind. Hebrew poetic prayer has its own sound patterns to it. ASL has its own patterns to it and metaphors, use of metaphor. They play with language in different ways. ASL plays with hand shapes and signs, facial expressions, etc. So we really had to think about how to translate this prayer of Jonah's to help us feel what the original listeners would have felt.